As the war rages on against crypto, could Bitcoin be your only safe haven? With the chaos in the market right now, there is clearly panic on display from retail investors. We've seen this manifest in the massive corrections on BNB, Sol, ADA, and then, naturally, as I expected, on those meme coins out there too. This all, of course, came about as a result of Gary Gensler's war on crypto. The SEC unleashed its opening salvo on the market this week with legal action against two of the largest centralized crypto exchanges in the world, Coinbase and Binance, which I analyzed in the video linked above. Everything is pretty much down, and the question now is how much further and which crypto assets should I buy? This is my opinion, of course, and not financial advice. However, these kind of black swan events where we see such massive drops in the price tend to be met with good, decent rallies, so Sol, BNB, and the other blue chips are going to rally for at least an easy 30% of returns and more. Probably, I guess. Look, at this point, it is still catching knives. But what I will say is 100% I'll be putting more money into one crypto asset right now, and that is Bitcoin. It was touted as the safe haven asset against inflation, but it may also end up being the safe haven asset from the SEC at this point. So let's look at why Bitcoin is on the verge of another bull run. Bitcoin's market share rose by 3.16% over the last 7 days. The market capitalization for Bitcoin is growing all the time, even as the price has declined, suggesting that crypto investors are seeking it out as a safe bet within the market. Bitcoin is up 58% year to date, while still down by roughly the same amount from its November 2021 peak of $68,790. This flash crash, of course, as I had said in the intro, has been caused by Gary Gensler and the SEC, going after a lot of assets, calling them basically securities. So the SEC's framework for evaluating crypto assets as securities relies on the so-called Howey test, which defines what constitutes a security. Bitcoin, its defenders say, doesn't meet that test. It wasn't created by entrepreneurs seeking profits via pre-listed private sales to larger institutional investors, which is what some of the other crypto assets out there have done. It was created instead by an anonymous software developer, Satoshi Nakamoto, back in 2009. It was an open source concept. While there is no law declaring whether or not Bitcoin is a security, the chair of the SEC, Gary Gensler, as well as former chair Jay Clayton, have indicated in numerous public comments that they do not believe Bitcoin is a security. Instead, most investors understand it to be a commodity such as gold or wheat. The SEC listed 19 different crypto tokens in its lawsuits against Coinbase and Binance that it considers to be securities. That's actually amazingly scary because they account for roughly 11% of the crypto market's total market capitalization. Now, those coins obviously fell Wednesday. However, Bitcoin remained resilient. To add to this positive angle is that Bitcoin is currently undervalued compared to the S&P 500. That's according to this report here on Crypto News. The report uses an ordinary least squares regression model to estimate a fair value for Bitcoin based on the current S&P 500 price. Now, OLS regression is a statistical method that observes the relationship between two variables. In this case, it's the price of Bitcoin and the S&P 500, and it does it over a particular specific period of time, which in the analysis that Crypto News used was 200 days. Now, the OLS regression model generates a line of best fit that represents that relationship between the two variables. So basically, the difference between the actual price of Bitcoin and the price predicted by the model indicates whether Bitcoin is overvalued or undervalued. And according to the analysis that we've got right now, Bitcoin is undervalued by around 3.7%. And that figure was actually as of Thursday, and the price, obviously, as you saw, has retraced even more since then, suggesting that there is actually a potential for a catch-up rally to come very soon. The correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 has been weakening. Historically, Bitcoin and the US stocks have really traded quite closely, and there's been a strong correlation between them. But this correlation has been decreasing over the last year, and that again suggests that Bitcoin is increasingly being viewed independently of traditional markets, which reinforces its status as a safe haven asset. But just because the SEC sees Bitcoin as not being a security right now doesn't mean things might not change in the future. And we do need to be really careful there when we start to consider, could ordinals mess it all up? There is this growing concern that ordinal inscriptions on Bitcoin could eventually draw regulators' attention. So Bitcoin ordinals, like I said, known as ordinal inscriptions, are the latest innovation in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Basically similar to NFTs, ordinals are digital assets inscribed on a Satoshi, the smallest unit of Bitcoin. This process of inscribing data into the Bitcoin transaction is made possible now thanks to the Taproot upgrade that we saw happen on the network in November 2021. This innovation basically opened up new possibilities for the Bitcoin blockchain. You can now have the creation of digital assets that represent anything from images to other tokens. While Bitcoin itself is not considered a security by the SEC, the creation of tokens on the Bitcoin blockchain through the use of ordinals could potentially fall under their regulations. This means that while Bitcoin continues to be viewed as a safe haven asset amidst the crypto turmoil that we're seeing right now, look, tokens created on the Bitcoin blockchain using ordinals could face regulatory scrutiny. I just want you to be super careful with what you buy in terms of ordinals, because it may well be that there's some sort of repercussions in the future. Bitcoin's price, of course, could slide further from its current levels. If you look here, it is being supported at the $25,500 level. There is a possibility that we could see more corrections ahead. That being said, the outlook over this year is absolutely brilliant for the OG crypto. Ordinals have boosted excitement for what can be built on this blockchain, and with the SEC giving it a wide berth for at least this moment, we could be looking ahead to a Bitcoin summer. So should you be buying more Bitcoin? Let me know in your comments down below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe, and I'll be with you with another video very soon.